Hi, I'm Jim Christian, founder and CEO of Cornerstone, and this is Behind the Barricade, where we dig into performance breakthroughs in construction. If you care about tighter schedules, fewer excuses, and teams that do what they say they'll do, you're in the right place. Today I'm joined by Adam Hirsch, CEO of Hirsch Construction, a family-built business with roots back to 1983. Adam quite literally grew up in the business. He'll tell you about running blueprints the old school way, learning estimating, and catching the construction bug. Fast forward to today, Hirsch is now over a $60 million company with around 50 people delivering approximately 50 projects a year. Their internal rally cry, win one project every week. This conversation is packed with all kinds of practical, sleeves rolled up leadership our industry needs. We start with a fresh performance story. An Asian-based brand racing to open a Virginia store before Thanksgiving. Every GC bidding the job said the same thing. HVAC lead times made that impossible. Adam's team refused to accept the 12 weeks of or bust. So they hit the phones, escalated to manufacturers, found a viable unit, and resequenced to protect the project schedule. Result, doors open November 14th, 2 weeks earlier, instead of late December. That is what a sense of urgency looks like in real life. You'll hear how Hirsch turns values into velocity. Sense of urgency, crossing every seat, accounting, field, estimating, not performative, but operational. Strong communication tailored to the client. This brand lived on WhatsApp across a brutal time zone spread. Hirsch didn't force their system. They adapted. Super, PMs, executives, all on the thread. Decisions captured in minutes instead of days. We also get into acquired disciplines that keeps projects out of the ditch. A post-project review on every project with estimating PMs, supers, and leadership in the room. A rigorous subcontractor rating system, 1 to 5 stars, so that the next bid pulls from proven partners, not whoever picks up the phone first. In new markets, they blend landlord preferences with deep pre-qualifications on manpower and focus. Owners will appreciate this bit. When a CEO says the stonework is the hill to die on, Adam's team aligns vendor selection to that priority, even if it isn't the cheapest option. It's about protecting what clients value most, not just lowering a line item. We zoom out of trends too. Hirsch has a technology committee of 7 or 8 people from field, PM, project managers, estimating, and ops who constantly test new tools that improve layout, production, and client communication. No hype. Just what works and reduces misses. On sustainability, they're leaning into client-driven lead requirements, recycling, demo diversification, and a growing charity program that places reusable fixtures with local organizations instead of dumpsters. And then there's a workforce realities. Adam calls it straight. Productivity won't budge if you can't attract young talent into the trades. Hirsch is pushing internships, rotating college students through estimating, field, and project management, and hiring the keepers. It's small but meaningful pipeline that more firms should copy. It's a candid, actionable conversation from a leader who still measures success in on-time openings and happy clients, not just headlines. I'm Jim Christian. This is Behind the Barricade, brought to you by Cornerstone, where we're committed to creating a better journey for our clients, our staff, our project partners, and ultimately the world. Now, on to the episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Behind the Barricade, where we're exploring breakthroughs in performance in the construction industry, and so glad you're here with us today. I'd like to introduce you to Adam Hirsch from Hirsch Construction. Adam and I go back several years, and grateful for you saying yes to coming on the podcast, Adam, and look forward to our conversation. Adam, could you tell us a little bit about your journey, how you got into construction, what Hirsch does, and your experiences along your time at Hirsch?
Sure, yeah. Hi, everybody. Adam Hirsch here, CEO of Hirsch Construction Corp. I got into construction because my father was the founder of our company in 1983. In fact, when I graduated college, I was not really planning on joining the company. I was going to do real estate. I was going to move out to Los Angeles for my uncle. But that summer, my dad, I was sitting around not doing much, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come to the office, help out a little bit?" And I never left. I was literally started out making blueprints in the blueprint machine. This is the old-fashioned way, helping estimating, and just started to fall in love with it. and like I said, never left.
That's amazing. And how many staff do you have, Adam? And how many projects would you produce in a year?
Yeah, I mean, we're still a small family company growing. Right now, we're about a $60 million company. We have big goals and aspirations, and we're moving fast towards them. We do about 50 projects a year, staff of about 45,
Okay.
50. Yeah, our goal is to get awarded a new project every week. And we've been on track with that for the most part.
Well, congrats. That's great. That's great.
Yeah,
That's awesome. So, Adam, when you think about performance breakthroughs in your projects, do you have a story that you'd like to tell us about a project where you really feel performance is hitting a level of performance that you haven't seen maybe recently, or that there's a reason for what's happening in this particular project or in a project?
so one that we have seen is, just recently we were awarded a project for a company based in Asia, and they are opening a store in Virginia. They opened up a store about a month or two ago in Florida, and the client called us saying that they were in trouble because nobody that they were talking to, that they bid out to, could get them open in time for Thanksgiving. They sent us a video of their last opening, which had literally thousands or hundreds or thousands of people waiting
Wow.
outside the store. It's one of the hottest brands out there. You'll see soon who it is. And the reason why others couldn't do it was because the air conditioning units and the lead times to get them. I felt a connection with this brand and promised them that I would do everything I could with my team. And we assigned a team to hit the phones hard. We even went as far as calling the manufacturers themselves and did find a unit that we could get within a reasonable time. And they're opening November 14th as of now.
Wow.
So 2 weeks early. They would have opened late December if we didn't bring this sense of urgency and we didn't listen to the brand of what their needs were. So I'm really proud of that. And that kind of sense of urgency is what makes us great.
Nice, nice. Now, you were saying before we hit record that you really felt you and your team were living into your core values in this project. So maybe tell us about your core values and how you're living them out in this particular project to increase the performance of the project.
Sure. Yeah. So one of them, which I just mentioned, is the sense of urgency. All of
Mm.
our people need this, from accounting to the field to office staff, all around estimating. In retail, things move fast. You need that sense of urgency. And again, that example with the AC unit, not accepting the 12-week lead time, our clients really appreciate that. Another one with this same project that really shined is communication, strong communication. We live and die by strong communication. With this brand being on the other side of the world, it's very difficult to connect with them. So they actually use WhatsApp. My project manager had never even heard of WhatsApp before this project started, but we quickly realized we needed to adapt to their form of communication and be
Mm.
flexible. We have our ways of typically communicating, but this brand required something different. So our site super, myself, our PM, and the rest of our staff involved in the project all jumped on WhatsApp. The client appreciates it because that's how they're used to communicating, even with their friends where they live. So, being flexible and communicating definitely came into handy here.
Wow, that gives you interesting challenges when they're that far away and the difference in the time zones. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's typical. I mean, most of our brands, while many of them have offices in New York, most of them are in Europe or Asia. So the time zones play a major part. And again, we can't let that affect our communication, which is, again, a major core value for us.
That's amazing. It is a fundamental, isn't it, to having a successful project? So when you think of projects that maybe haven't gone well, or maybe projects that have gone well, and you did an after action review on it, what do you uncover when you look at those kinds of things?
Yeah, and we do that after every single project. Our entire team, from estimating, who was involved very early, to project management and the field and upper management, get together for a post-project review. And the biggest thing that can bite us and that can hurt our projects is choosing the wrong subcontractor.
Mm.
Honestly, we've made great strides in that because now and over the last several years, every project at the end, we rate our subcontractors. So our field does, as well as our project management team. And so they get 1 through 5 stars.
Oh,
And we're all about reusing and making relationships with our vendors. And so as we continue to go to different cities, we can look and make sure we're choosing subcontractors that are at least 4 or 5 stars, depending
right.
on the scope of work. So that's been the biggest thing that we have found to be a challenge, but that we're also finding solutions for.
That's awesome. That's a great way to do that. How does that work when you're in so many different cities? I'm assuming you have different subtrades in different cities. I guess you're just constantly mining that data field. Is that kind of your approach to it?
Constantly mining, constantly looking for new, but also, again, forming relationships, using people we trust. Luckily, if we go to a new city or a new mall, we try to use preferred vendors that the landlord recommends, but
Right.
we also have qualification statements. We spend a lot of time these days making sure that the vendor has the right manpower, understands the project, and is going to give us the attention we need, that they're not too busy. So we spend a ton of time on the vendor selection now, just because of the past where we've had some issues and gotten burnt in the past. So we're not going to let that happen.
So if you were talking to an owner about this process of making sure their general contractors had a good sub base to execute on the project, if you were going to give them one or two questions that you'd want them to ask the contractors that have bid it, what would you want them to ask?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what I'd want them to ask, but I would want to hear from them on what's really critical. I mean, we're involved with a project where the stonework was so critical to the CEO of this company. It's not all they care about, but that's a super important aspect. And
Yeah.
for us, we need to listen and we need to make sure that if that's something that's the most critical to them, we're going to give them the very best vendor,
Right.
depending, no matter what the cost is, because that is what they want. And so it's all about listening, hearing their priorities, and adapting.
When you think of all that's happening in construction, one of the reasons we leaned into doing this podcast is the construction productivity just has been stagnant over the last number of years and a couple of decades. It really just hasn't been moving. As you lead your company, what kind of trends are you thinking about and exploring, and kind of want your team to be thinking about it as you look out into the future?
Yeah, I mean, we're constantly looking for the best technology to help us. Construction people may not always be the most adaptive to
Right.
technology, but we're leaning in hard. Our company has a technology committee, constantly scouring, looking for the best products, really just to help production and to help efficiencies and to help communication with our clients. So we're just constantly looking for new tech that can help us with certain things in the field, like layout. We've got some amazing materials to help us with layout and technology. Just staying on top of what's hot and constantly looking, constant improvement.
How many people would you have on that technology team?
So we opened up a lot of committees within our company, which has been
Yeah.
awesome. Technology was probably our most popular, and I think there's a team of 7 or 8 people on there, and from all different. So we have a couple from the field, a couple from management, a couple of project managers, an estimator. So everyone can participate and look for what's going to help their own department, and
Wow.
it's been great.
Have you been looking at sustainability at all, and how to reuse materials or how to dispose of materials? What thoughts have you been struggling with or thinking about?
So they're pushing us to think more about it, and I'm all about it, and a lot of our people are all about it. So yeah, recycling, demolished materials, stuff like that have been happening more and more in our projects. So through our charitable committee, we're actually, if we go into a store and let's say it's a furniture store and there's leftover, instead of throwing it in the dumpster, we're calling different charitable organizations that may want it. And that
Wow.
feels great and helps us.
Yeah. I was reading a little bit about your charitable stuff. I think it came in on LinkedIn or on a newsletter you sent to me. So tell us a little bit about what you're thinking about, what you're doing, what excites you
Yeah.
about that.
We go into all these different cities around the country constantly. We're going to a different city, build a store, get out of there. And it feels like beyond the beautiful store that we built, we just felt like we needed to participate in the community a little bit more and to
Mm.
give back. So far, it's been great. We've been including our clients in this decision on where we're going to give back.
Wow.
So we finish a project, we'll ask our client what's near and dear to their heart, and we'll make a donation to that community that may or may not be near and dear to the client's heart, or maybe someone else. It could be someone on the construction team or the construction site that has something going on, and we felt it was important to give back to that. It's just taking off now, and just really, really excited about it.
That's cool. Very good. That's awesome. So when you think about productivity in construction, where's your mind go with how do we improve productivity on a project or in the industry as at large? You got any thoughts on if we could solve this issue, it would make a big impact on a project? What kind of stirs you up thinking about productivity on your projects?
Big picture, I think it's just getting the people in the trades. Our COO, Dan Skibbets, is super intrigued about getting younger people into the trades. And I go into my job sites, you're not seeing a lot of younger people, so it's very concerning. Getting people excited to join the trades, to realize that it's a good place to be. You can take care of your families, you can make money, and you can stay active, and it's a good industry to be in. It's really important as we grow, and there's not a lot of younger people these days wanting to get into the trades. So something that I'd like to see more of, and we're trying to encourage younger people to get in best we can with our internship program and that kind of stuff. That's a concern I'm having, and I know the entire industry is.
Yeah. When you talk about your internship, maybe can you tell us a little bit what you're working on with that?
Yeah, again, it's another program that's pretty new with us. We've always talked about it, and I know a lot of bigger companies do it really well. We kind of dove in, having college kids from local towns come to work for the summer. Luckily, we found some great kids and let them help us do a little bit of everything. So maybe they'll help out a couple weeks in estimating, a couple weeks in the field, a couple weeks in project management, see where they're strong and see what their interests are. And in a perfect world, be able to hire them when they graduate.
Wow, that's cool. So how long would that internship be? How long? Just for the summer? They come in over the
Yeah, it was
summer?
basically a summer program for college kids. The first one we ever did was in our Houston office, and we hired as soon as he graduated, we hired him straight out of college, and he was a star APM for us for many years.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
cool. So how long have you been doing that?
we just started 3 years ago. I wish we started earlier.
So you got them for a few months then, like
Yeah,
May through
yeah,
August or
June,
whatever.
July, August, something like
Yeah,
that.
that's awesome. Any other thoughts on areas that we should be looking at as an industry to kind of improve productivity?
Yeah, I mean, just getting the right people in the industry that care, staying with the trends and technology. Because again, like I said earlier, a lot of people in construction not really that interested in it. So keeping up with the times and the other industries and the tech, I think, is the most important.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Adam, for saying yes to coming on the podcast. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to be here and look forward to connecting with you in the days or weeks ahead. So thanks so much for coming on.
You got it. Always great to talk to you, Jim. Thanks so much.
Take care.